I just feel like on defense, if you can line up and stop the run with people, you give yourself a chance to win. And this, what we're going to look at first is a few inside drill plays. Okay. So let's just talk about who we are defensively first. And again, we're going to focus mainly on only on our 4-man over front, which is what you see right here. So when we do that, all right, we want to make sure that we're gapped out on alignment. So we got a guy right here. This is the center. We got a 3 technique. We got our shade, who's not a shade here. He's in a G. He was wrong on this play. He should be in a shade. There's no reason he's in a G right here. All right. And then we're going our 5 technique. We got our 5 technique. We got our will linebacker sitting in B gap. We got our Mike linebacker sitting in A gap. So we're gapped out in the box. This guy's our nickel. All right. He's our outside linebacker that goes to the passing strength every time. And he should be lined up about out here. We won't get into all his rules of alignment right now because it doesn't matter for this presentation, but he's too tight. It's an inside drill, like I said. Sometimes those guys would do that. They would get a little bit too tight, and he is right here, okay? But you get a good look at these guys' gaps pre-snap, and we want to stay gapped out. And I think that's something you got to teach these linebackers. Yes, that is your gap pre-snap, but that gap is not going to stay there. That gap's going to move, all right? It's going to change, okay? And so how we do that, all right, is we give these guys a little method to that madness that for me, it works in my mind and it gives me a language I can use to talk to those guys in practice and during the games. So we talk to them about a level 1 play, a level 2 play, and a level 3 play. And a level 1 play for us is any play that hits you right in your gap, right? So for the Mike, it would be right in A. For the Will, it would be right in B, okay? It hits you right down the middle of your face. You don't have to guess. Boom, gap opens up, there's the ball. If they get a level 1 play at them, we tell them to fill it and spill it. All right. And to be honest with you, I don't care if they spill it. If I'm drawing it up, I'm drawing it up that we're going to box it. Because, for example, if we get a big gap ISO, I want this guy boxing it back to the mic, right? But I don't spend a ton of time on that. All right. This is what I spend time on. We want to be the first to the contact point. So if we're getting a big gap ISO, and you're going to see one of those in a minute. All right. If we get a big gap ISO, we want to beat the fullback to the contact point, meaning I want to beat him on the other side of the line of scrimmage right here, and then I want to blow him up. And at that point, if I do that, it doesn't matter if I do it with my inside or outside shoulder. I don't care. All right. As long as I beat him to the contact point and I win the contact. All right. So we talk to them about that all the time. But that's what we tell them. Level 1, fill and spill. Level 2, all right, is going to be something big gap to maybe C gap, right? So you're going to talk about your powers, your counters, inside zone. We consider an inside zone a big gap play. All right. And those are all level 2. And so we tell them on a level 2 play, we want you to scrape and fit tight. And I tell them to get as tight as the tightest. All right. I want you to get as tight as you can to that down block and fit it and get your eyes inside. And I'm going to show you all this in a minute. All right. Just getting the language out of the way right here. And then we talk to them about a level 3 run. Level 3 is anything outside of the box. So outside of the tackle box to us, that's level 3. All right. And that's going to be your speedo, your stretch, your outside zone, your jet sweeps, your bubbles, stuff they pitch out of the box. At that point, we're not worried about anything running inside the box right there. We're going to rip and run and go tackle the football. We get a level 3. So it's level 1, level 2, and level 3. That's the language that we use when we talk to our guys about fitting the run. All right. Especially about our 4-man over front defense right here. So what we're going to get on this play, boom, all right, is we're going to get this right here. We're getting power. All right. We're getting down right here. We're getting down. This is the H. He's kicking. All right. We're getting the G, who's pulling. All right. We're getting the tackle that's going to gap hinge and block out on the 5. And you can see the running back's going to get the ball and bend back. So we're getting front side power, strong side power. Okay. So if you go back, all right, like I said, you just go back right here. All right. There's our pre-snap gaps. Watch the gaps. They move, right? They're not staying stagnant, okay, like we talked about. So what should happen on this play, all right, is when the wheel linebacker sees a pull call, because we're going to get our eyes on the back, all right, just base day 1 spring rules. We're going to get our eyes on the back. But like we talked about, we've got to muddy our vision a little bit, and we got to see that guard when he pulls, all right? So his eyes are on the back, but his guard is pulling. So immediately the first thing he's going to do is call pull, all right, to let every linebacker know, all right, that the guard is pulling. So he's going to call the pull, and then he's going to track with the puller. What that means is once he sees him pulling, I'm not worried about him anymore. I'm going to track the ball. Tracking means we're going to stand up balls inside leg, all right, and just get downhill and hunt. And I want them to be an aggressive tracker. I don't want them to overrun the ball. But as they're tracking, if they see a gap, they can run in and tackle that inside leg, go. I want our guys being aggressive, ripping and running, all right? Two things about the mic. When he gets a pull call, immediately, all right, he's going to rock step off of any step that he's taken, and he's going to go fit tight, like we talked about on those level 2 plays, all right? So 2 things should tell him, don't worry about a gap. One of them is the pull call from the wheel, all right? And then the second thing is his gap is getting downed. He's getting 2 downs right here. So that too should tell him to go scrape and fit, even if he doesn't hear the pull call. But here's the deal, and here's the key coaching point, I think, all right, at least for us, okay? This is a young Mike that we got in here, all right? He was a sophomore at this point, okay? You'll see this a lot out of young linebackers. They take that as their gap, and they think I've got to fit that gap regardless of what happens, that I'm just going to run in a gap. And then when they learn, okay, I don't have to do that, sometimes it takes them some time to learn, what does it look like when my gap is being closed, right? And the only way to fix that and to get them to let it play with, second nature, all right, is reps. You got to get them a ton of reps, all right? And so one of the things we teach this guy right here is to play that A gap with some depth and patience, all right? We line up at 5 yards, all right, take you 1 downhill step, play it with some patience. If that ball is going to run an A gap, you're not going to have to wait. You're going to know it's going to be there right now, all right? So play with some patience, okay? Hear that pull call, wait on that pull call, right? Wait on those 2 downs and go fit it tight, all right? What our outside linebacker is supposed to do right here, all right, is he should be setting an edge, all right? We talked to him about setting an edge with their inside leg. We want to keep the ball inside and in front, inside legs up, keep it on, keep the ball on the inside leg and keep it in front of you. That's a key coaching point that sometimes I didn't always do in my career. All right. I don't want a guy running by the football. You waste him at that point. All right. So, because we want to have a wall all the way across the front of this defense. I want a wall all the way right here. So he's got to keep the ball inside and in front. So we're getting power. It's got to be edge. He ought to be scraping and fitting. He ought to be tracking with the back. What happens, we don't do any of that. All right. My wheel tried to scrape and track with the back. He got caught in trash. The mic does not play a gap with depth and patience. All right. He runs in a gap. The nickel out here, he's doing okay, all right, setting an edge, but none of that matters because there's a vertical run lane. And when we watch film, especially inside drill, all right, we look for vertical run lanes. And if we see those, we got to do something to fix it because those things will get you beat. So go back and watch this play. I'm just going to let it run. Play a gap with depth and patience, Mike. He doesn't. He runs down in there. And there's nothing. There's a vertical run lane, and they get you fired. All right. You cannot have that on your defense, man. All right. Those D linemen, they got to do a really good job of compressing those gaps, making those gaps, those vertical seams, and they're really, really small so that ball runs east and west. Now, these guys can rip and run and play that level 1, level 2, and level 3. It starts up here, man. And if those guys aren't squeezing and compressing gaps, all right, none of this other stuff that we're going to talk about matters. Okay. So as level 2 play, let's look at this. It's going to be a level 1. You're going to get big gap ISO. You're going to get a block out on the 5. You're going to get a double on the shade. Fullback's going to lead up in the gap. All right. Everybody's eyes are on the back. So he should run through his gap. It's level 1. What does he do? Fill and spill. Mike's eyes are on the back. He's mirroring him unless he gets a cross pull of the guard. All right. So we're going to have 2 linebackers meeting in this hole. Watch the wheel first. All right. When the ball turns over, there's his gap. He's gone. This is what should we get. Now, D-line guys up front compressing gaps. Boom. All right. Compressing that guard. All right. Fight pressure with pressure. Get skinny. Don't get blown off the ball. This guy right here should post. All right. We talk about posting, inside leg, inside hand, via the neck. All right. Really compressing that gap to make that gap really, really small. We don't need a big gap in there. We're not looking for vertical run seams. He's filling and spilling. There's his gap. He should scrape and fit. He should track the back. He's the backside guy. Right. Here we go. Boom. Will does a great job. Mike, not so much. All right. Watch the wheel again. Just let it play. There's his gap. Slow-mo. Boom. Blows the fullback up. Right. My 5 technique's getting his butt beat up there. Mike, watch Mike sitting in a gap. Play it with depth and patience, Mike. He doesn't. He tries to run down in there again for no reason. but the wheel did a really good job. So